For the last couple of months, I've been trying out some new lenses from Voigtlander, the Color Skopar 28 and the 50. For those who've been following me for a while, know that I've been only shooting 35mm focal lengths for years now, and it was time for some change. I'll explain why in a bit, but first, welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk It Over. So why did I change the setup from 35mm to 28 and a 50? First of all, 35mm felt just a little bit too close. Especially over the last year, I noticed that I came a lot closer to my subjects and therefore also tended to lean back when taking a shot. So a 28 felt more in place. But of course, not everything will work with a wide-angle lens like a 28. Therefore, I thought a 50 would be the perfect companion. The 35 would be just too little of a difference. And I can tell you already, these focal lengths didn't disappoint at all. I think this was the best choice. But in this episode, I'll give you my first impressions about the Voigtlander Color Skopar 28, the Type II to be exact. By the way, this episode is not sponsored by Voigtlander. I paid for these lenses with my own money, just to keep it real. Let's start with how it looks and how it feels, and after that we can check out some work that I've already created with it. The first thing that you'll notice is the form factor. It's incredibly small. I've attached the hood on it, but if you take that off, it's even smaller. The hood comes with the lens, by the way, which is pretty surprising coming from Voigtlander. I've been using Voigtlander lenses before, of course, and I think that the build quality is amazing. Definitely if you compare the prices to some other lenses. Nothing bad to say about how this lens is produced, feels very solid and like a piece of quality when you hold it in your hands. Also, the focusing tab was smooth from the beginning and hasn't changed a bit. Everything on the lens is easy to read and zone focusing just feels like a breeze. Because I've been using the Voigtlander Ultron 35 for so long, the focusing tab felt a little bit weird to me in the start because this one is closer to the body. But that went away after just a couple of weeks. You've got this lens in both silver and black. I chose the silver one because it matches so good with the silver M6. Sometimes silver lenses aren't the same as the body, and that mismatches quite a bit. But this lens is really made for it. So yeah, what more can I say about it? If you really want to know some specs or some technical things, I'll leave a link down below. But I'm not really interested in that. I just want to know how it feels and how the images look at the end. Which leads us to some results that I've shot with it in the last couple of months. The first frame is from a ride that felt abandoned but was still lit up. There was such a moment where I didn't have a lot of time to take the shot because I was going somewhere, but I just had to take it. Even though it's a 2.8 at its widest aperture, it does its job really well, definitely when paired up with a fast film like Portra 800. Also, taking this with a rangefinder of course, with a focal length of 28, I feel pretty comfortable shooting this at a shutter speed of 1/30th. Love how this one turned out, very apocalyptic. The next frame that I chose to show in this episode is because I wanted to show you guys how it would handle flaring, but also pretty harsh contrast. And in my opinion, this lens handles it better than the 35mm Ultron. Very clean, but not too much to be clinical, just got some nice character to it. Also love how this lens can render the details and the colors. In the next frame, I felt that it really showed off how much wider it is than the Ultron. The photos that I take have a lot more information in it, and that can tell more of a story or more about the situation that I'm in. Of course, this frame is far from storytelling, but I'm just showing the range of it. Also, this was shot wide open at 2.8, but the vignetting in this frame is a little bit distorted because of the lights, but also because of the mirror that I shot it at. In the next frame you can see a lot better what this lens is capable of. Also shot at 2.8, and the distortion and vignetting really impressed me by how little it is. It feels wide, but not stretched out or too distorted. And I really like that because I want my images to look natural. This might be something that held me back for so long stepping into this focal length. But I guess with this lens, all of those worries went away. In the next shot, also shot wide open at 2.8, you can still see how shallow it can get. Sure, it's not the most shallow, it's also not the most clinical, but I really like the character that it has when you shoot it wide open. I really love this. Fitting more inside of the frame really worked out well for me. Like in this frame, but also in more hectic situations. I shot both the 28 and the 50 during a full month of full color in a circle, which is a beautiful event, but also an event where a lot of things are happening and changing all the time. This setup with the 28 and the 50 just worked out so well there, even though the 28 is a 2.8. Would it be easier with a faster lens? Maybe, but after checking out the results, I don't think that I would stress it the next time. F2.8 with a fast film stock just works for me almost in every situation. By the way, the full episode about this event is in the making, so subscribe to the channel because you don't want to miss out on that. And that is really my first impression about this lens. I also took it with me on my journey to Suriname in December, but that is a whole different episode. Also, I think that after that episode, I might be able to give a full review about the lens if you guys are interested. Let me know what you guys think about it. Is this lens something that you would mount on your body? For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week where I give you my first impressions about the 50 Color Skopar, which surprised me maybe even more. Peace.